So if you didn't catch Sandrew's stream yesterday, I was a featured guest. It was a lot of fun. We played a bunch of games, we made a tier list, and just a lot of fun shenanigans.
Where's paint
Very
at?
weird.
I'm gonna draw a picture of what I think OF looks like. You have a little bit of a goatee.
Interesting expression on my eyeball there. You look like, this drawing looks like a punk rock drummer.
Yeah, in the band Big Wef.
Yeah.
That could be a band
You're
name.
missing my 3 eyebrow rings and nose ring.
You just got the 1 earring.
You can check out the VOD on his YouTube channel or his Twitch channel. And I gotta say, I think our tier list already has kind of impacted the meta. I'm noticing more fossil teams, even more electric teams that I've been seeing before. Definitely noticing a lot more ground players. I think a lot of players learned a lot from it, myself included. Sandrew is definitely more knowledgeable about the game and the meta than I am, so I definitely learned a lot while we were building the tier list. But one of my opinions that I confidently voiced was that water is a top tier comp this patch. Not necessarily a vertical water 9 team, but more so just a strong water opener into a late game featuring water 6 and whatever side synergy you can fit in. There's a lot of directions you can take it, usually aquatic or dragons, and sometimes fossil, and because of how much they can overlap, sometimes you get all 3 of them. Overall, there's so many strong side synergies you can fit in your water team, and getting free units or money from fishing is definitely helpful. But yeah, that was my main contribution made to this tier list, and overall, I don't see a lot of other tier lists placing water that high. If you're interested for a full tier list breakdown, I'll have the video linked and timestamped in the description. Also want to shout out Spanish Crow for making some fan art. That's honestly so sweet, and you love to see the community just doing this kind of stuff. But yeah, overall, it was just a lot of fun. I'd love to do it again, and who knows, maybe if I have time, I'll start streaming my own content in the future. Anyways, let's get into this game. It's an extremely high elo lobby. I've already naturally evolved myself a Pikachu before round 4. I could very easily be that guy and play Raichu Hyper Roll Electric, but honestly, I've never been a fan of full Hyper Roll type comps. Of course, if the game gives it to me, I'll take it, but if I see any reason to play a more economy focused comp, I will do that instead. For example, getting a Never Melt Ice from beating the Spearows, in addition to having a Charcoal and 2 Squirtles on my bench, puts some alternative ideas in my head. See, an early game Pikachu really wants a Muscle Band, and I have neither components for that. What I could do instead is grab a Mystic Water, and with these components, I can make myself an Amulet Coin and a Soul Dew. Now, I think Amulet Coin is actually a pretty bad item, but it does have its place in the super early game if you are able to get a strong backline carry and give it a nice scaling item like a Soul Dew. I'm gonna commit to a strong early water team led by Wartortle, and I'll use Pikachu as an extra frontline tank. I'm gonna spend all of my money at level 3 rolling down to find whatever I can to support this Wartortle, and for now, that's just gonna be a Marshtomp. So I've used a lot of money doing this, but hopefully I'll be able to make it back using that Amulet Coin as well as fishing. That'll have to start next round as I'm using a Pikachu instead of a 3rd water unit. I didn't get it in time, but that's fine. Next round we'll have the water 3 in, which will give my Wartortle even more ability cast with that PP generation. For now, we'll have a very close fight where Wartortle is able to score me, not 1, not 2, but 3 money. Let's bring back the counter. In the next ad pick draft, I'm able to grab myself a Chinchou and a Heart Scale. Chinchou is the perfect 3rd water unit for my team, because if I'm able to get 1 more electric and light Pokemon in my team, and that's going to be this Mareep that I have benched, I'll be able to have Water 3, Electric 3, Light 3 on my team. That would be a lot of significant synergies for the early game, but I would have to hit level 5 first. For now, I want to commit to this early game win streak while also saving my money, so I'll make myself a Max Revive and give that to Pikachu. And scouting this game's light spot, look at that, it's like I knew. It appears right underneath my Amulet Coin Wartortle. That makes me even happier that I committed to Wartortle over a light spot Pikachu build, and we'll win versus a baby team, scooping up some more money along the way. Alright, now I could do 2 experience bumps into leveling up to level 5 to get those 3 synergies active, but I scout through all of my opponents and I feel confident that I can beat most of these teams. I should have paid a little bit more attention because the dragon team with the itemized Shelgon is quite scary, but I think I could still probably beat it. Unfortunately, between the time that I scouted them and when the round starts, they actually leveled up to level 5. They threw in the evolved Pidgeotto as their 5th unit, and that's just going to be too much for me. Also, my unit targeting and positioning kind of got messed up in the engagement anyways, So that's going to be a disappointing end to my plans of getting an early win streak, but all things considered, my position isn't actually too bad. It's good that I didn't spend all of my money every round, and my team is still strong and I have that amulet coin giving me extra economy. Definitely nothing to be too concerned about, especially against this next team where the engagement is much better and my Wartortle is actually targeting properly. It's a pretty tough team and a close fight, but things really go my way with my Wartortle picking up not 1, not 2, not 3, but wait for it, 5 whole gold with its ability hitting 2 targets at the same time, and that's the power of Soul Dew. In the next draft, I pick up a Magnet and a Slugma, and I also level up to level 5 so I can throw in that Flaffy. That's going to activate Electric 3 synergy, giving my electric Pokemon extra attacks. And it also activates Light 2 synergy, giving me a Light Spot. The Pokemon on the Light Spot is going to get some extra damage. That Light Spot is going to just let that Soul Dew shine through. Let's take on this Dark Artificial Ghost team. And as unfun as those synergies sound for my carry Wartortle, it's not going to do anything against my team. And Wartortle thanks you for your donations. And we've got our Gyarados around here. Definitely not at all worried about it, but just to maximize Wartortle's chances of getting us 1 more gold, I give it a Magnet. But unfortunately, in its dying breath, our Pikachu snipes the kill. And for the unique carousel, I'd like to get a Water Portal, but Ice, Aquatic, and Dragon are also good options. I also see the potential for a Cosmog Lunala carry game, so the potential for a Light Portal is also pretty good. I end up with first dibs on this portal with Light and Water. And ladies and gentlemen, it's a Mantike, which unfortunately is not what I want to see this game. I'm trying to win streak here, I don't have good items for Mantine. Instead, I'm kind of leaning towards this Stonejourner. Stonejourner is weird. It has some good stats and a pretty good ability, but Stonejourner doesn't do anything until its PP bar is full. The trade-off is that every Pokemon around Stonejourner gains 50 ability power. In the late game with 9 units, that's like equivalent to 4 choice specs, or like Psychic 2 on every single Pokemon. You will have to awkwardly position your Pokemon in a box around the Stonejourner, but I'm already kind of doing that if I'm relying on a backline Light Spot carry, and Stonejourner itself has Light Synergy, so overall, this is a win for me. As an individual unit, Stonejourner is not very useful, and the only real synergy overlap with what I'm trying to build is the Light Synergy, but its team-wide ability power buff is more than enough for me to justify using it. We'll see how everything goes against this Poison team. Unfortunately, my team has 0 protection from Poison, aside from Pikachu's second life. My Wartortle is nestled pretty safely in the backline, but it doesn't take long for the Poison to overwhelm my team. A few more seconds could have potentially changed the outcome of this fight, as it would have been able to cast 1 more ability, but Wartortle took too much poison damage and it gets taken down by our opponent's Gligar, not before getting lots of gold though. Alright, next Pokemon item draft, I decide to grab myself a Twisted Spoon alongside a Houndour. We also hit level 6, so we can get Mareep in for Light 3 synergy. That's going to be extra PP generation for our Light Spot Wartortle. And I can also use that Twisted Spoon to give my Wartortle an upgrade in the form of an upgrade. And that upgrade of an upgrade is going to give my Wartortle some extra speed on every attack. And that's perfect because my team is built around enhancing and protecting that Wartortle. Here we'll take on a Dragon Psychic team, which has the Latias-Latios duo. Some very strong mid-game units. They're also messing around with Unknown U, giving themselves an Uxie, but their frontline was pretty much non-existent, which is going to be a pretty easy win for my team, with Wartortle picking up another 3 gold for me. We've got a component carousel here, which I will be moving second last. The item I want most is the Heart Scale, because I want to make protection for that Poison team, and I've also seen a bunch of Ghost players. Thankfully, I seem to be the only player that wants a Heart Scale, because neither gets claimed, and that's going to be half of a Fluffy Tail obtained for me. And as we continue along here, we're also fishing up a good number of Magikarps. Still not sure if I want to go for Gyarados or not, but at the moment we're not hurting for bench space or health, so we'll keep it as an option. We'll take on this normal team, which has a lot of shields, but overall doesn't seem very strong. It's going to be a long, but one-sided fight in my favor as Wartortle continues to pick up lots of money. We're able to hit level 7 as we go into the next round, and look, Frigipax. That's a 1% chance of finding a 5-cost Pokemon in this shop, and while it doesn't really fit my current team, it could in the future, and it's a strong unit on its own, especially at this stage of the game, so I might as well pick it up. We're also using an Oshawott this round, just a strong frontline water Pokemon, which also activates Field 3 synergy, and that's just going to be even more speed buffs for my Wartortle. Unfortunately, we're against that very scary dragon team with a ton of evolutions and dragon stars on board. This player is much ahead of everyone else, having not dropped a single round. Dragon usually struggles in the early game, but they've hit a lot of evolutions. This is going to be another loss for me, but Wartortle does pick up 3 money. Good job. Sad to lose the win streak again, but we're doing well economy-wise. And we still have a lot of health, so no problem there. So let's talk about our game plan moving forward. Wartortle has been doing great for us, especially with all of the support that we're able to give it. But in the late game, it's definitely not going to cut it, and it's really not worth going for Blastoise either. If I want to continue on using water, I really need to replace that Wartortle with a Sobble in the late game. And the best way to find Sobble is to level up and try to get to level 8 or 9, where the shop odds will be much better than the 1% chance of finding a 5-cost unit. We have the health and economy to push for level 8, so we'll just do it. And we're winning most rounds anyways, which won't be the case for long, so let's just try to get to level 8. Against Mewtwo and Mew, our 3-range, high-speed Wartortle is able to pick up both kills, and getting a second heart scale lets me confidently build a Pokédoll. I'm still looking for black glasses to make myself a fluffy tail, and unfortunately, we don't find one here. That's okay, we'll take a Twisted Spoon, the favorite component of a water team, and we can throw that Pokédoll on Pikachu, who is our temporary frontline tank. We're continuing to push towards level 8 as we take on this Ghost team. Very awesome that my Stonejourner is able to protect my Wartortle from a bunch of the Ghost curses. Unfortunately, my opponent's Delmise yanks my Wartortle forward. It's fully exposed and gets taken out by a kitted out Metapod, and without their carry, the rest of my team is not very good. So unfortunately, that's going to be another round loss for me. I'm very quickly losing my tempo, but I don't want to change my game plan. This round I do decide to get to level 8, spending a little bit of money below 50, because I am out of bench space for fishing for Magikarps, and I also want to use the Frigibax that I've been benching for far too long. Next round is against a bug team with a lot of evolutions and a fossil Shuckle. Thankfully, this bunched up group of bug units is a feast for my Wartortle. Its ability is always hitting multiple Pokemon every cast. My frontline is looking beefier than before with the Frigibax, who's also doing some good damage contribution. And the longer this battle goes on, the stronger my Wartortle gets. And even though I dipped below 50 money this round, Wartortle is able to get me back there. We've got an item carousel here, and in the next shop I also see a Finneon, which is one of the reasons why I decided to pursue this light water team. And I still really want to make a Fluffy Tail, but there's 1 Black Glasses in this carousel. Unfortunately, I'm still in second place and will be one of the last players to move, so that Black Glasses gets stolen away from me. So does the Mystic Water, so I'll just grab myself a Miracle Seed, because with that I can at least make myself a Max Revive, which is kind of like a pseudo Fluffy Tail, at least against the Ghost 8 curse. I also fish up my 6th Magikarp, which with the Ditto is actually 7 Magikarps. So we pretty much just want to get Gyarados at this point. Unfortunately, I'm also running into a bit of bench issues. Like, I definitely want to use this Finneon, and I also want to hold on to my Frigibax. I've already had to sell a Mareep because Flaffy is not going to be that impactful for my team. I could potentially get Light 4 active, which would give me Rune Protect on that Wartortle, but it's already quite well protected and Ghost Curses are being eaten up by Stonejourner. I really only need to run Light 3 for that Wartortle, but ultimately I decide to sell off my early game Marshtomp. With that, I'll be able to use Finneon and retain all my important synergies. And as we take on this Ghost Artificial team, we've got a 2-level advantage over them, but we've got a huge disadvantage in terms of evolutions. But once again, our Stonejourner is doing a fantastic job at eating up Ghost Curses. Wartortle is slowly becoming a monstrosity from its scaling, but unfortunately, Ghost Dodging alongside Probopass's really annoying ability, some very unfortunate timing, and my opponent's Probopass is able to dodge and block a bunch of abilities. When Stonejourner falls, my Wartortle takes up on all the curses, and with the super cheesy Probopass Ghost combo, my opponent is able to steal the win from me. Quite infuriating. Also, I failed to fish up the last Magikarp that I need. Seems like when you just need one more Magikarp, the game just stops giving them to you. But whatever, we still have time. I also make a bit of a greedy decision here. I want to push for level 9, mostly because I don't have bench space and I'm going for the Gyarados. But if I do hit level 9, that would give me the best possible odds of finding Sobble. And even though I'm losing a lot of tempo, I do have more health than most players. I also decide to make that second Max Revive. It's definitely going to be more useful than a Lucky Egg or a Pokenomicon, and I'll just let the gods decide what my final crafted item will be. Regardless, let's take on this Poison team. You're lucky I don't have a Fluffy Tail, because my frontline gets melted super quickly, and Wartortle has definitely outlived its usefulness. It's just not doing enough damage anymore. And finally, in the next round, we have obtained our 7th Magikarp with the Ditto. That's our 8th. Here is our shiny new Gyarados, which I will replace Pikachu with. I can now finally make a push for Water 6 synergy because I don't need Magikarps anymore, and that can be attained very easily alongside Dragon 3, especially with the Legendary Carousel coming up, where I would love to see either a Water or a Dragon Pokemon. So let's take down Lugia and Ho-Oh, and here's the Legendary Portal Carousel. Almost everyone grabs their Portal immediately, but seems like nobody wants Water, but that's good for me. I ultimately go in the Water Portal with a Light symbol as well, and I can pick up either Suicune or Keldeo. I also have the option of going all out with Light and Ho-Oh, but as I've said, for the backline, I don't really need anything other than Light 3, so I decide to pick up Keldeo, who I think with Fighting Synergy can be a lot tankier than Suicune. We're going to be dropping War Turtle soon anyways, so Field Synergy is not going to matter. So welcome to the team Keldeo, a nice frontline water fighting unit. With Fighting Synergy active, both Keldeo and Oshawott will be blocking a bit of damage. Our last crafted item is a Shell Bell, which is not at all bad for a frontline fighter unit. And I did dump money into getting up to level 9. That will allow me to use everything that I have, and my game plan now is to find Sobble. I also want to find a third dragon unit, and I also want to evolve or replace my weak unevolved Pokemon. For now, we'll take on this Psychic team with a Psychic Cinderace. This opponent's team is just way stronger than mine. I really don't have any damage outside of that early game War Turtle. Keldeo and Gyarados are able to make a pretty fun last stand against all of my opponent's units, but they don't stand a chance here. Alright, as we approach the last lives of our game, it's time to start rolling down and finding some stronger units. Right away, I'm able to find Goomy, our third dragon unit. That activates Dragon Synergy, and in turn activates Ice and Aquatic Synergy. Finally, I find a Sobble, and that's going to get all of my items except for that Amulet coin. Even though I'm sure Sobble will be able to farm me a lot of gold, I don't need gold anymore, I need the strongest units possible, and I want Sobble to have its third slot available for when I do find an item that will actually give it stats. I also evolve myself a Duat, but before I'm able to throw it into my team, I'm way too slow, and we're taking on this normal sound team. Thankfully, my opponent's team is very weak, and Sobble is immediately doing tons of damage with its ability, hitting multiple targets in a line. Keldeo is also doing a fantastic job leading the charge, and don't count out the Stonejourner, who's giving tons of ability power to all of those units. Even Gyarados is able to grab me a gold using that Amulet coin. And with the next item carousel, not the greatest selection of items, but I would really love to pick up that X-Ray Vision. Unfortunately, the Grand Bull player takes it, so I'll just grab the next best thing, a Blue Orb, mostly just for its stats. My Sobble absolutely loves ability power, attack speed, and PP generation, and Blue Orb kind of fits those categories, so I'll take it. I finally decide to drop Light 4, replacing Mareep with Duat. That's going to give me back Fighting 2 synergy, making my Keldeo just a little tankier. I also am able to evolve myself a Sliggoo, and we'll stop rolling at 10 money, and almost forget to equip the Blue Orb, but we don't. We're taking on the Dragon team in first place, and with 2 max revives, a much stronger front line, and Aquatic Synergy keeping my opponent's units off of my Sobble, it's a pretty close fight, but Keldeo and Sobble are doing a fantastic job knocking down unit after unit. Ultimately, my opponent has a lot of really strong dragons, but no real damage dealing carry. That ultimately allows my team to take a pretty solid win. Alright, next step is to evolve my Sobble into the much more useful Drizzile. My money is now quite bad, but I no longer have the health to afford a good economy. I can afford to lose one more round, but I definitely don't want to, especially with so many players fighting for their lives currently. So I decide to commit a bit of money into rolling. I can definitely make some other adjustments to my team, I'm just not confident in what they are. But overall, the main goal is surviving and fighting Drizzile. Anyways, here is that Bug team. They have a lot of scary evolutions, but you know what's better than scary evolutions? The perfect items for a backline Sobble. I really like my opponent's team, especially with all the fossil revivals. But with the combination of Water 6 and Light 3, Sobble's damage is just way too consistent. It's casting its ability every 3 seconds, hitting multiple targets and causing multiple revives every time. Sobble is able to carry my team to victory, pretty much taking no damage at all. Alright, in the next round, I decide to pick up a Dratini and replace my Frigibax with that Dratini. Even though Frigibax is a much stronger unit, I'm thinking Aquatic 4 is a better synergy to have right now, especially versus a Poison team and a Ghost team. If you aren't able to find a Fluffy Tail, Aquatic Synergy is a great way to counter Poison. And taking down the legendary birds, I'm able to find myself a Cleanse Tag, which is another form of Rune Protect, although not as useful as a Fluffy Tail. That being said, it does pair really nicely with Aquatic Synergy because if your Pokemon do get poisoned, Aquatic Synergy can at least cleanse them of that poison, because the Aquatic Synergy wave kicks in a few seconds after the Cleanse Tag runs out. Definitely a very impactful upgrade against that Poison team. Anyways, as we roll through the shop a little bit more, I'm able to evolve my Finneon into a Luminion. That is a Pokemon I don't think I've ever seen used in any one of my games, so pretty cool that I'm using it. I also find a Shinx to replace my Chinchou, which is fine because I still have Water 6 synergy active, and Shinx is just a much stronger late game unit. Let's take on the Ghost team. Thankfully, they have not yet hit Ghost 8, which still probably would have been fine because our Keldeo has that Cleanse Tag helping it out, as well as a Max Revive. And also, our Sobble, who doesn't have Ruin Protect, is powering through that Fatigue status. Even when halved, it's still generating PP at a pretty fast rate. Our front line stays super healthy, and Probopass is not able to cheese out a win against me this time. Alright, continuing along, I'm starting to build up a small bank of money, but it's still a super close and dicey game. I still have yet to find a second Sobble, so we'll continue to roll cautiously. So many 5-cost units passing me by in the shop, but not the ones that I need. Eventually, I'm able to evolve my Shinx into Luxio, not the evolution that I'm looking for, but I'll take it nonetheless. And I do find myself a second Sobble. I quickly run out of money, but I really need that Drizzile, so after a few more rolls, I find the third Sobble, getting me a Drizzile. That's going to be a huge bump in damage, and we'll hopefully see that in action as we take on this Poison team. They've given me a lot of trouble in the past, but now I have a Cleanse Tag and Aquatic Force synergy. However, their Eternatus has acquired a very strong counter to my Drizzile in the form of a Max Revive and a Power Lens. It is able to knock the Drizzle out, but my frontline is just way too healthy thanks to Aquatic and Cleanse Tag, and that's more than enough for me to win the round, so some pretty good counterplay. Anyways, this item carousel doesn't have the most impressive items. The green orb is probably the best item, but it gets taken away. So I'll just grab this aqua egg for a faster ability cast on one of my Pokemon. And at this point of the game, I'm pretty much broke, but there's pretty much nothing else I can hit. I mean, I could get a Dragonair, but Dratini is really just there to fill synergies. Anyways, let's put the aqua egg on Luxio since its ability is pretty potent. And what do you know, after a few shop rolls, I am able to evolve my Dratini into Dragonair. Again, that's probably not going to make any difference, but what else am I going to spend my money on? We're nearing the end of the game, so let's see how we take on this Dragon team once again. Last time we won with a Sobble, and this time we have a Drizzile. Unfortunately, my team exposes itself terribly to a huge Turtonator explosion. Like, let's instant replay that. With half of my team instantly taken out, my Drizzile is super exposed and it doesn't take long for it to also get knocked out. But Keldeo and Gyarados, they're holding on and doing pretty well. Gyarados gets taken out and Keldeo's already lost its first life, but it's super tanky thanks to that Pokédoll and fighting synergy. It has extra ability power from that Stonejourner and it's doing true damage, but my opponent is able to get so many revives off thanks to his Dialga's ability, and unfortunately Keldeo just can't hold on. A very unfortunate fight there, and now I have to think about some things. The Poison player has been eliminated from the game and I no longer need Aquatic Force synergy. Now I'm thinking I might need to get Water 9. So I swapped Dragonair with a Horsey, but now I'm kind of stuck in a dilemma because the only way to get Water 9 would be to lose Light 3. The only way to have both Water 9 and Light 3 is to find Chinchou, but that would still mean losing Luxio, and I don't have the money to roll through the shop to find a specific unit. Another thing I could do is reacquire the Frigibax and reobtain Ice 2 synergy, which would probably be more helpful than Aquatic Force synergy. Unfortunately, Frigibax is very contested, being a 5-cost unit used by my opponent, and my brain is also panicking and I don't have time to be doing this kind of stuff, especially not at 9 health, but we do have a bit of money, so just desperately rolling through the shop trying to find one of those solutions. Unfortunately, I find neither in time, so we'll just throw in this Gracidia flower, use a very awkward Horsey, and Water 8 synergy, which does nothing over Water 6. Unfortunately, I run out of time and run out of money, and this is looking like quite the disaster. I'm just praying that somehow this fight goes differently than the last time. Thankfully this time, with the attack speed from the Gracidia flower, my Drizzile is able to cast a little bit quicker than my opponent's Turtonator. It destroys the Turtonator's shields, making its ability a lot less powerful. That keeps my front line alive for longer, which keeps my Drizzile alive for longer. It's also really benefiting from that Gracidia flower, which just might have been what I needed. Not Water 9, not Ice 2, just a little extra attack speed. And you know what? Luxio is doing a lot every fight, so replacing it with a Chinchou would be a huge mistake. With the little money that I have, I think the best upgrade that I can get is bringing Dratini back in for Aquatic Force energy, or finding a Frigibax, but that's already off the table, as I completely ran out of money. So here we go, final duel of the game. It could really go either way. This time Drizzile hits the wrong targets and Turtonator is able to cast, getting lots of damage. Thankfully it's on our Keldeo, who's able to heal back a lot of that damage with its Shell Bell, and our Drizzile is firing so quickly thanks to all of its speed bumps. Our opponent's units are dropping like flies even through Dialga's resurrections. This time the fight is even more one-sided, and that's just proof to you that Dratini is better than Dragonair. But with that, we'll take a very cool win with a Water Stonejourner Light team, something I don't think I've ever seen before. So trust me guys, Water 6 is top tier this patch. Alright, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next game. Or maybe a Twitch stream, or a patch rundown, who knows. Take care everyone.